So there has been no technology that can formatize all this information into a simplified way. So this process of building even a preliminary underwriting model to input the data from profit and loss statements rental takes hours. So what we have done, and at the core of it, what we have solved is you are building the same Excel model, but without a lot of manual work. The AI is doing a lot of the heavy uplifting for you.
Hi, Adam Gower here, founder of GowerCrowd.com and host of this YouTube podcast series, Real Estate Market Watch, current events through a real estate lens. Today's episode is another demo day episode where you are going to be seeing some of the most amazing commercial real estate AI companies on the market. So, my guest today is Parag Goswami of Click.ai. Click spelled C-L-I-K.ai. What Click.ai does, I'm going to oversimplify this, is basically it takes your underwriting spreadsheet and it auto-populates it with all the key data inputs that you would usually do manually. So it is an extreme time saver, number one. And number two, they have Click has established a relationship with TREP. So what you also get is extremely detailed, accurate comp data so that you can have a look at how your asset is performing relative to a comp set. It's incredible. If you are listening to this podcast, fabulous, but you're going to miss out a little bit. Because we are going to do a screen share. Parag does go through how to use it. It's definitely worth watching. All of these demo day presentations are worth watching. You can find it on my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, of course, and look up my name, Adam Gower, or look up Gower Crowd. Please subscribe to the channel and you will find the podcast there. It is definitely worth watching. You can also watch it at 2x speed, but I recommend that you don't watch the screen share presentation, the demo itself at 2x speed. You want to see what's going on. It is fascinating. All right, so that is all there at YouTube, actually. And actually, if you go to GowerCrowd.com and go to the podcast tab, you'll find the podcast. There's a link there to YouTube and also a link to subscribe to my newsletter. So while you're there, while you're subscribing to YouTube, my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to the newsletter also. Okay, let's move on to my conversation with Parag Goswami of Click, C-L-I-K.ai. Oh my goodness, coming right up now. Parag, it's nice to see you again. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's start right at the very top. Who are you? What is your company? What does your product and website do?
Yeah, so my name is Parag Goswami. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Click.ai, spelled as C-L-I-K.ai. We've been in business for about 8+ years as a software company. But our team's background is in deep dive into commercial real estate underwriting, back office support services. So technology, we as a technology company, we do a lot of large scale custom software development work. But one of our main product that we build that is, a lot of fits into the right lenders and servicer as well as larger private equity shops invest in commercial real estate is an AI that sits on top of clients' own Excel models to automate their financial modeling.
And who's it built for? I mean, you've kind of ran it off, but who are your primary users?
Our sweet spot are lenders and loan servicers. So a little bit institutional who are investing across all asset classes, debt and equity. Every asset class has a different kind of set of framework in terms of Excel modeling. So it's not like one solution fits it all. We have a heavy customization that works in, but the core technology really is a data parsing solution that we've built on top of various PDFs and rental documents in T12 and can suck in data from these documents regardless of their shape and form and can spin out Excel models that clients use on a daily basis in a way much faster manner.
Into their Excel model.
Their own. So think of an AI that is sitting on top of your own Excel models to speed up the process.
Okay, so how are people solving the problem that you're solving today without your product?
So, and in the enterprise, larger will like there's obviously some large balance sheet lenders can have their own teams in house. A lot of companies have been traditionally used to using outsourcing in other countries like India. So I also myself ran a company over there back in the days, which became like a larger company. And then otherwise, they hired a team of analysts, interns on a regular basis, and that's how they do it manually. So it's a very manual process. Traditionally, has been a very manual process, but over a period of time, and especially with the latest release of large language models and AI, things are getting better.
Explain to me the layers. So we've got a spreadsheet for underwriting. And then what are the other layers that you're putting on top of that? Just help me understand the
Yeah.
infrastructure a little bit.
So let me simplify this from the step one. The step one is, let's say you are a bank or an investor and a broker sends you a deal. If on a high level surface, let's say you look at the offering memorandum, you're interested in that deal, you would ask for a detailed financial statement, T12s, rent rolls, and so on and so forth, so that you can model the deal yourself and see, do a lot of see various level of IRR calculation or debt to coverage ratios, LTV calculation to put all this information, which generally comes in like rent rolls and T12s, it comes in lengthy PDFs. Sometimes the formats are so different, varied formats. So there has been no technology that can formatize all this information into a simplified way. So this process of building even a preliminary underwriting model to input the data from profit and loss statements rental takes hours. So what we have done, and at the core of it, what we have solved is you are building the same Excel model, but without a lot of manual work. The AI is doing a lot of the heavy uplifting for you.
So
So
it's
parsing
finding
of the documents, underwriting each line item on the P&L statements, then classifying the entire unit mix of the rental so that you can trust your own data rather than what the broker sent you.
sweet. Wow, that's interesting. So it's basically it's find you would say parsing the data. It's finding the key inputs that you would
Mhm.
otherwise have to do manually and doing it automatically and then delivering you. So the deliverable is what? Your spreadsheet fully loaded with all the assumptions.
Exactly. So your own spreadsheet loaded with this data without manual work,
And
or
do you
call it a
verify
very limited work.
and do you verify the data as well by looking to see whether or not what the broker said was market, or do you just is it that the first step is just passing the data and putting it into your spreadsheet?
The first step is just parsing the data, put in the spreadsheet, and then everyone has their own assumptions. They can input and play around with their assumptions in their spreadsheets.
Okay. What is the what would you say is the single most valuable outcome that a user gets from using Click AI, Click.ai?
So various way of looking at it, clear teams who are deploying this technology can score more deals. So I think it's a very highly productive environment. So
Mm.
you don't have to worry about hiring an army of analysts. It basically helps you look at more deals, I would say. And then also maintaining that you don't create any errors in creating this data or inputting this data. So because technology is doing a lot of uplifting for you, parsing, you can review everything in the screen and make sure like everything is like tying up, and then you can just keep on repeating the work.
And what changes immediately for a user the first time they log in?
What we've seen is, I mean, it's a heavy AI generated and like production environment. So there's the biggest advantage I would say is a big time saver, and just avoiding that mind-numbing work of inputting the data into Excel models and doing this, multiple times in a day.
Mm.
So it's a better way of doing your work in a day-to-day basis. And then once your data is in on the platform, you can push it into various different dashboards. One of the key use case for larger clients are everybody is building their own Salesforce dashboard, or they want to connect the data to their loan pipeline management software or third-party systems and or do lease analysis. But doing this with raw documents at scale is not possible unless you get all the key elements out of it. So that's it comes really handy. So the first step is normalizing the data, using that to spin up Excel models and do IRR calculation or underwriting models. And then you can take it step further and basically digitize the information, build your own database, build AI queries on QA chatbots on top of your own data.
Can't wait to see it. So this occurs at the very beginning. This is the initial deal screening stage that Click AI works at. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's very heavily useful for deal screening stage, as well as ongoing asset management. Like for example, on the debt side of worlds, there are servicers who are responsible making sure the loan is compliant or the own property owner is compliant. So the property owners are sending, monthly or quarterly statements, P&L statements to track the performance. So
Mm.
lenders and servicers want to make sure that everything is looking okay, and they do this work on each property on their portfolio on a monthly or on a quarterly basis. So when the size of the portfolio becomes a little sizable, then it becomes a very important tool as well.
Interesting. So this is in terms of tracking to make sure that a loan, for example, is not materially different from the original underwriting. And then do you, because so now we get a little deeper on this, but in that case, do you also trigger flags, or do you just deliver the end result and allow the user to determine whether or not it's compliant?
So multiple ways how customers do it. One of the ways that as part of being a lender or a servicer, you have to comply to some of the regulations like CREFC standard guidelines
Hmm.
or Fannie Freddie agency guidelines.
Right.
So the agency and these organizations have already given out templates out in which you have to present the
Ah.
data.
Hmm.
So customers can spin up that same data into multiple spreadsheets. So whether it be as part of the compliance spreadsheet, or a lot of lenders ask the data to be presented in their own formats. So there
Hmm.
is a lot of customization in the sense that, but the core thesis is that everybody's looking at this data and looking at this compliance and tracking this asset performance in a spreadsheet. And there could be hundreds of spreadsheets if the company is bigger.
Can you give me an example of a case study? It doesn't need to be by name. Obviously, I want it to be just to
Yeah.
be discreet, but like the ideal client, give me a case study, a kind of example of somebody you would ideally like to see coming through the door.
Yeah, so an ideal case study are little bit institutional lenders. We have a case study out there with Webster Bank, and we recently also partnered with the data provider TREP. To the thesis was how can Webster analyze their portfolio, which is a large book of loan portfolio, about $20 billion, and
Mm.
then about $4 billion, $3 to $4 billion in commercial real estate. Now, if they have to review this, and every loan has to go through a review process every year, so they were able to do the same work in probably about 1/20th time, just 1/5 of the time than they would otherwise take. And then they can also integrate TREP's data. So while looking at their P&L statement across every individual property, they can also run comparable. So that's a very important use case. Just adds another layer of risk uh, oversight on your portfolio. The whole goal is to avoid any kind of default and make sure everything runs smoothly, right? So the more data you can look at analytically, that's
Mm.
where Click comes into play. The Click is able to give them the underwritten line by line item detail as how they like to look at it. And then it layers and compares it across the property from TREP. So it's a very important use case. Another use case is one of the servicer client of ours. When they started with ClickAI, they were doing all of this work. They were managing, I think, something around 2,300 property portfolio on as a third party servicer, managing the loan portfolio for various banks. By using clicks over the last 5 years, they've gone from managing, 23, almost from $23 billion in AUM to over 65 without increasing any headcount in the financial spreading or the quarterly statement review team within their company. So if you really look at it, it's a huge payroll, savings. At the same time, incredible faster analytics and insight you can provide to your end client. So it's really improving customer service and client service for them. So these are some of the top use cases that I would say, like large debt servicers like Colliers, Bellwether Enterprise, they all are using ClickAI to, ramp up their loan portfolios and improve and scale their business.
Right. Last question. Let's do a screen share and have a look at this thing. What should viewers be watching for during the demo, Parag? What matters? What do you want them to really pay attention to?
So I think they should overall they should look at how important this can bring. I mean, every client is different. Some clients are
Mm.
looking to increase their portfolio. Some clients are looking to optimize their processes. So I think it fits into both of those kind of scheme of things. Uh, as I said, like we were not a data provider, so we had built this technology. Now we have partnered with third-party data providers. So bring multiple workflows that they anyways do in their daily work, but within the same environment. So that's what I would like to show.
Okay.
Uh, at the end of the day, this is where the world is moving. So I mean, it helps you stay competitive, and that's what I like to show to the user
All right,
base.
good. So we're going to switch to a screen share. So for anybody listening, I know that Parag is going to try and describe the screens as best as he possibly can. Please go ahead and screen share. You should have that right now, Parag. So go ahead.
All right.
But if you have the opportunity, please go to YouTube. It's my YouTube channel. You can watch this specifically. All right. So here we go. Screen share. I'm going to hand it over to you, and I might jump in occasionally with a couple of questions. So.
Yeah.
Fire away. What are we looking at? Give me as much detail as possible, please.
So this is our product called Auto Underwriting, and this is the product that I was talking about where you can look at all asset classes. We help clients bring all their spreadsheet models onto the platform. So there is a little bit of integration process here. Our goal is to not change the process that the customers do it today. So what that means is that, as I mentioned this in the start of the conversation, everyone has their own Excel model. So I'm gonna pick up an Excel model, and then they can pick up whatever asset class they're looking to underwrite, and then can start typing out the address of the property. Let's say Wisconsin Avenue in Bethesda. It's a multifamily deal, and so treat this as your a deal folder or a portfolio folder. Every deal in your portfolio will be residing here.
Mhm.
If you are looking at a new deal, you can start uploading a completely new deal and start uploading the documents here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up an operating statement, which is a T12 for last 12 months, a lengthy rent roll. Now, as we all understand, rent rolls and T12s and historical documents comes in different shapes and forms. So
Mhm.
this is just one format of it. There are tons of formats out there.
Mhm.
Uh, Very quickly, you can just select the date of the rental and then hit the save. What it's doing at the backend is now our parsing engine is working. It uses AI and machine learning, which we have built proprietary internally, and it spits out the Excel out. It spits out all the information in Excel. So once we have transported a PDF, which could be in a regular PDF or a scanned PDF or an Excel file that you uploaded, it spits out this interface in an Excel interface where everything for that particular tenant is now in a single row. So as you would see, the software has converted every chart of accounts into a single row. That's how manipulating this data into an Excel becomes easier, because when you fire up, like when you connect different formulas and columns, then you can run analytics at scale. So all you have to do is just dump the data and verify this information and hit the button called validate this run. At this
Mark
point of
validate.
time, a rental, which let's say you have not been using technology and you've been doing the mass manually, it will at least take you half an hour to an hour to just consolidate all of this data into your financial model. What we have done is we have connected multiple steps here into one single environment, and you can review the process for the T12 as well. So over here, I'm looking at a financial statement. I can analyze this information from 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and pick up the date that I want to. Eventually, when I show you the Excel output, you would see that all of this information really is directly connected to your cells and formulas and rows in the Excel model. That's how this becomes very, very useful because you don't have to really spend a lot of time. If you learn the software, just get familiar with various features, then within 5 to 10 minutes, you can really build a very robust Excel model or very robust underwriting model, whatever you use today for IRR calculation, debt calculation, so on and so forth. So I'm going to open up this T12 as well, make sure everything is tied up. There are some, special things that I like to mention that the P&L items in the statement is actually being underwritten based on client's own chart of accounts. So that's the AI additionally we have built on top of it. Lender might have their own lender or an investor might have their own chart of account in their Excel model. So our AI can map it to exactly how you do it today.
Oh, the definition of what a line item is, you mean? Is that what
Correct.
you said?
Yeah. So how if I draw a parallel to the current way people analysts do it, they would
Mhm.
output this data from a P&L statement. Then what they will do is they will select a drop down and classify this as income
Got it.
expense or capital expense. Then they will further go on to the third column and then select another one. So you would see that there's like hundreds of line items on this particular
Mhm.
sheet. If you have to do this repeatedly for
Yeah.
every statement, every line item,
It,
it's a time kill.
it's like
It's
QuickBooks,
it's
right?
QuickBooks,
Right?
but
It's
it's
basically
QuickBooks on
categorized.
steroids. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I okay. That's what it's like instant QuickBooks. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, got
So
it.
this you can
Mm.
customize for any of your financial template, any kind
Mm.
of lending products, your
Mm.
internal for all asset classes. So as I said, there's a lot of customization that is possible for institutional clients. And then at this point of time, we are ready with the basic information like the T12's rent roll. What we can do is now output this data into the first step is into an Excel model, whatever we have been
Right.
using, right? So what I've done is I have clicked the button called download model. In a few seconds, it will populate a model and will try to import this data into my template.
Okay. Okay. So what
So
Paragus done to go ahead, go ahead.
how this happens is basically we write VBA, we pull the information through VBA macros. So this data is now sitting on our template, on our SOX system, right? And then all you have to do is just push this data. Let's call it, debt, debt model for now.
Okay. Well, so you've already
Save
got one.
it.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah. So here's the address that we had. My cash flow template had
Okay,
a
so now let me just
placeholder for.
sorry, Parag, let me just jump in. So now what we're looking at is somebody else's unique spreadsheet, their underwriting document, right? Their proprietary in-house underwriting document with I don't know, 10, 15 different tabs on it. Very sophisticated underwriting model. This is their original. Your software has imported all the data that you just also uploaded from those PDFs, correct?
Correct. And each of the P&L statement has already been underwritten properly, how this internal teams or credit teams do it.
Okay, so well, let's have a look at this then, because we've also got, but this is somebody else's spreadsheet. They wouldn't normally have a TREP revenue comps on it, would they? This is something I'm presuming that Click.ai is injecting into this. But can you help connect the dots between what you showed me in terms of parsing the data from those rent rolls into here and what did it do and what's somebody looking at here that they think, oh my goodness, that saved me so much time?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you would see now, this is a consolidated P&L statement, right? You would see the residential income on regulated units was this much. Now, if we go back to the original document, which was this, you would see there were multiple line items across the board which could have been part of residential income, rent concession. You
I
would
see.
see there are that two items.
Wow.
If you have to do this manually, you will have to pay attention to every single item, make a judgment on it.
Wow. That's incredible. So now we're going back, just to clarify, we're going back to the the source documents, which was the rent roll, but we're
Right.
looking at the past data in an Excel spreadsheet that
Hmm.
Click.ai generated that has all these different line items that all could relate to residential income on the spreadsheet. All right, let's go back to that spreadsheet now.
Yeah.
So
So
what
let me
you're,
take one more
yeah,
step here. So
yeah.
how this extracted data reflect into a summary, there's another sheet here, which is summary sheet. So this is the roll up
Ah,
of all that data that was in the extracted data,
okay,
right? And this summary sheet is now inputted directly into this, the right cells and columns in the client's own
into the right
spreadsheet.
location. Let me just ask something. Go back to that one tab. Just kind of, if you can go back to that one thing you just showed, that one. So the consolidate, no, the
Oh,
consolidated, the summary. So this summary is this unique to the way this is summarizing unique to each client's own Excel spreadsheet. So
exactly.
so a different client might, if a different client was to do the exact same thing, this
Mhm.
summary page would look different or could look different.
Absolutely. Yes.
Got
It's
it.
like
Mm.
for a particular client, they might treat, let's say, employee discount as not as residential income. They might
Right.
treat it differently. So we have the ability to train their own underwriting P&L statements to how
Mm.
they classify. So
Got it.
that when the data is pushing into their spreadsheet, it's exactly how they are used to, and how
Mhm.
their framework works, how their underwriting guidelines work.
Plus, presumably, this is has lower error rates as well. I mean, traditionally, you'd have to do this manually, wouldn't you? You'd have to actually read this thing
Oh,
and input the
absolutely.
numbers. How the heck?
Yeah.
Seriously, do people actually just input these numbers manually now? Is that how?
That's how people do it. Or they outsources, and the outsource team in
Wow.
other countries will
But
do it
wherever
still
that
manually.
outsourced team is manual,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
it is, right? Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Okay, keep on going.
Right.
I
So
feel like
once
I'm in
we
a
have
Formula One race here, and I want to I want to do another lap. Come on.
Right. So once we have the cash flow information, similar to that, you have the consolidated rental unit mix information, and this is the detailed rental information, which is directly coming out of that PDF. Now, one of the important aspect, which I think is very useful here as well, is once you have this information, you can literally compare your P&L underwritten data by comparable information. Like, you have only heard of concept called sales comparables, like, hey, this property was sold for this one, but who is providing the revenue and expense comparable? That's super important, because if you have a new deal or looking at a loan, or it's in your portfolio, you would like to see what are the payroll expenses other properties are paying in my neighborhood or in my market, for similar properties. So these are the additional insight you can drive through this kind of integration we have done with Trap.
Okay, so let me understand. So okay, so what we've got here. Do you mind scrolling to the top, Parag, for me, just so I
Yeah.
can see the headings? So we've got a subject property on this page, and we've got at least seven comps. Probably more, but at least seven that we can see on the screen. So
Hmm.
what is going on here is that we've got TREP. Somehow, Click.ai has said, okay, we see where 8300 Wisconsin Avenue is in Bethesda, Maryland, and it's pinging TREP's data. And TREP is saying, okay, these are relevant comparables, and it is providing all the comp data for you. And I'm going to click my fingers. It never actually, the click actually, it's ironic that it's the name of your company, never actually comes through on the audio, but I'm going to click my finger just like that, right? All these comps show up. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. As long
Wow.
as you put your address properly, all this data will pop up.
Automatic, because you don't even have to think about it. You could dispute if you wanted to one of these comps, but what is it doing with the comps, Parag? How is it? It's just giving, are you just eyeballing it, or are you analyzing and comparing it in some way that is easy to read?
So this was designed for lenders. So we have a couple of
Hmm.
insights here. For example, you can see in the com summary, these were the number of units, year bill, then what was the origination of the loan for this, what was the loan amount per unit for this, and
Okay.
then additional insight into what's the occupancy rate across all these comparables, debt
Mm,
yield, monthly revenue, and then towards the bottom, the summary of all this information above, like what's the average, median, min, max. So this screen, this is a very unique screen designed for lenders, but
mm,
we can work with, from equity perspective. So the whole key is you cannot get to the real apple to apple comparison here unless you have the right P&L statement and all the underwritten data correctly.
mm.
Because and that's what Click accelerates and then helps partner with other data companies to bring all this. We're trying to bring a lot of this underwriting workflow into one seamless system without you changing your process, which is Excel, which is your own Excel models. Let's plug in AI on top of that Excel model so you can just work, be more efficient with your underwriting process and workflow.
Okay. Mind blowing. I love this stuff. Incredible. So how will a lender, let's just look at this comp page then, some of these stats here. What's the lender going to do? What are so they're going to manually now, having got all this data, they're now manually going to look at this and and they're going to, I'm sorry, they're going to manually scan this data and they're going to look for aberrations, right? They're going to look for deviations from
Mhm.
norms in the market. Is that correct? So what are they typically going to be drilling down on this page, do you think?
So now that's a little more, I'm not a loan originator, but generally they would
Yeah.
like to see, let's say if there's a new deal on the desk across my portfolio, across
Mm.
comparables, what's happening? Let's say I'm in Bethesda, Maryland, right? Look at the same comparables, and if there is a high payroll expense or revenue is like there is a huge variance across revenue, then I'd like to go back to the borrower and ask more questions, or at least in my call it credit memo, I would like to mention to my investment committee team that, hey, these are the comparables across this. The payroll seems a little higher, but we have done our research and this loans looks doable. And so that's a more credit committee kind of call, but they need this insight. This is heavily useful today. They don't have this insight available unless they spend days to do this.
Right.
And
Right.
imagine as an institutional player, there always be, you always have a backlog of how much you can do, right?
Hmm.
So this helps you get to that truth much, much faster.
So the trap integration is, I don't mean to make this sound trivial because what you've shown me already is mind blowing, but this is value add, right? It's not just time saving. You're actually now adding an extra layer automatically of data that's incredibly important to the user.
Yeah, this is useful for both production origination, portfolio management.
Mm,
It is, in my view, this is heavily useful information for managing risk on your entire portfolio.
mm. There's definitely an anomaly on that page, but it doesn't really matter. We don't need to look at.
Yeah, I mean, that is just to showcase the
Yeah, yeah,
idea.
yeah. Sure, sure. Okay, so
And
what else do we want to have a look at here, Parik? This is now, again, just to clarify, this is the client spreadsheet that we were looking at, right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay. And it's
So
been
that the
popular.
first step is to get to an Excel model so that you can work, because that's one of the major use case and one of the major workflow that
Mm,
every lender, servicer, or broker, even all equity players are doing today. They
hmm
all work on their spreadsheet. Now, what we go on, there are other kind of integration and customizations that's possible. So, for example, if you see there's a button called Send to Data Hub. This can push data into third-party system. Companies have built their own Salesforce dashboards. So let's say
Ah,
they want to keep track of all the deals that they hit on their desk. They upload the data, then they push it to the data hub. So they're building their own comps library. They're building their own P&L, income statement, cash flow comparable libraries. More importantly, for lenders and servicers, this needs to connect to their third-party loan origination system or loan servicing system. So there are multiple softwares being used in the enterprise world. You know, every customer depends on multiple different softwares, but if all the softwares can talk to each other, that helps them in their process. So Click AI allows them to connect this data into anything that they internally use. It could be a legacy system, it could be a subscription to another software they're using for asset management or pipeline management. So we can connect to multiple CRMs and software companies through this data hub connection. And yeah, so this is one of our core product that is out there. Anyone can use it and can customize for their needs. Then, as I said, overall,
Mm.
I mean, the company, we have a lot of different offerings too. We've been doing this for over 15 plus years, so very hands-on commercial real estate background. And then larger institutions are also using us for building, very complicated AI solutions, which is proprietary to them to for their very complicated or specific use cases.
Parag, fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that. You want to come so we can keep the screen share if you like, or you could just come back and I can just we can just look at each other face to face. Up to you.
Yeah.
So a couple of wrap up questions then. All right. So, but how long does it take to get set up with a new client? Actually, let me start with a different question. Sorry. Well, let's get back to that in a sec. Uh, so you partnered with TREP. TREP is CMBS, usually very large. These are mega loans, sometimes, huge, entire CMBS can be single loans.
Mhm.
What is the size of the company that typically on the smallest end, typically will gain value from Click.ai?
Yeah. So I've found that, our software, because of all the nuances and software, right, is more suited for a little sizer company. I would say that our smallest customer is managing a debt portfolio of around 500 million.
500 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many assets is that typically?
That would be typically at least, 100 assets, 100 to 200 assets.
Okay.
That's when they can basically justify the uh, the 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 commercials around it, as well as for us to get involved. And because as you see, there's a lot of onboarding customization that we
Yeah, it
do
looks
before
that way.
onboarding a
I was going to
customer.
ask you that. Let me get to that in a
Yep.
second. So this is not being used as an acquisition pipeline underwriting tool, is it? Where you've got people that are doing the first screen, they get a notice from a broker. And I hear people talk about this all the time. Yeah, we look at 100 deals a week, and we might do one a month or something. So they're just
Yeah.
great. So they're doing a first screen, which is a quick look and get rid. Second screen is send me the data, and then they run it through their model. You're not seeing people
Mhm.
use it for acquisitions, are you?
We have some shops using it for acquisition, but I would say our most stickiest customer base is larger institutions. Like we have over more than 3 years of retention and more than 120% net retention revenue from enterprise world. So that's why I said, see, the use cases across the board, everybody does the same use case. Like they take their Excel models, dump the data,
Mm,
run their IRR calculation, and so on and so forth. But when I talk about our sweet spot and the best customers,
mm.
that's the customer that finds the most value in it.
Okay, so what is how long does it take to get set up with the new? Here I am. I knock on your door, Parry. I've got a spreadsheet here. And for argument's sake, let's say I want to do acquisitions. I want to run deal scenarios through Click.ai.
It takes under a week to get a client's model set up and all their chart of accounts and everything custom built for them.
Mm.
And so I would say about a week for on the small end type of customers, and on an enterprise larger customer who have more than 10 templates, I would say it will take about a month,
And
which
okay, and
includes our training and how feature training, onboarding, getting all their portfolio loaded, things like that.
okay, so somebody using it for acquisition. Sorry that I keep drifting.
Yeah.
I've got a friend at a bank,
Yeah.
actually, and I sent him the article I think you posted on LinkedIn, and neither of us really understood what actually you'd done. Now, of course, it's blindingly obvious. This is why I wanted to do this call, actually. So I'm going to share it with him. He's chairman of a major bank, so let's see if he picks up on it. It'd be fabulous if he does. But my interest actually is on the acquisition side. So humor me. I know it's not your main source over here. But once you get me set up with my spreadsheet,
Hmm.
I'm pretty much, I can function pretty much on my own now, right? I just open it
Yeah,
up, I drop in all the data that I need, you'll parse it, and the deliverable each time is my spreadsheet fully populated.
exactly.
How is it priced?
It's priced about 8,400 for the whole year for smaller companies. And on the like higher end, we charge based on the portfolio. So that's a custom pricing.
So 8,400, so I pay 8,400. You set it up for me.
Yeah,
Or not set it up for me. You help me integrate my
yeah,
accounting
yeah.
definitions and categories and integrate it with my spreadsheet,
Hmm.
etc. And then I can and then it's I mean you showed me how it works, but pretty intuitive. Now I can just go ahead and do underwriting
Yeah,
for all of
you
these
can.
deals using my own spreadsheet.
Yeah, you can underwrite unlimited deals, handle any level of portfolios,
Amazing.
and we can help you like customize. Like a lot of times, custom models change internally.
Mm.
Keep so we take care of
Constantly
all those.
tweaking them.
So we take care
That's
of all
right.
of that. So that's a
Mm.
1 year straightforward pricing.
And that's unlimited use, is it? I could run
Yeah,
100 deals a day through this thing.
yeah. You can as long as humanly possible.
Wow. Okay. Gosh, yes. So my mind is spinning so fast that I can't think what to ask next, which is I'm speechless,
Well, I'm glad to hear.
which is not common for me. I will tell you that. Okay. All right. So I'll tell you yeah. So what's the best way for somebody to learn more about you? How would you like them to contact you? What's like the best way to get in touch? What's the
Yeah, I'm
follow
on
up thing?
LinkedIn, but there is also like a free trial. You can self sign up on our website. As soon
Mm.
as you land on our website, there is a free trial button. Anyone who's keen to test it out, we have opened up our other product, which has a similar technology, but more geared towards multifamily acquisition shops. So
Oh.
they can go and try it out for next 7 days. And as soon as somebody signs up, I get a notification. They can always keep in touch with me.
Okay, but then what that means is, just for clarification, so with the free trial, there's no customization. I just import my Excel model and your and Click AI will do best guess for what needs to go into each cell. Is that right? And then if I do sign up, you'll help me customize it. Is that a
Correct. That's
decent
correct. Yeah.
assumption? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, Parag Goswami. I'm so happy you did this with me today. Oh my goodness, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for doing the demo and for showing up on the show. Parag Goswami, click.ai no C.
Yeah. CLIK.ai. Yes.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, that was Parag Goswami of Click.ai. Parag, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad we did that. Really, seriously. I saw that post of yours on LinkedIn about having done a deal with a bank and Trek was involved and da da da. I sent it to my friend, as I mentioned, at a major bank. Neither of us could quite figure out what it was that you were doing. But that's exactly why I asked to do the demo. And now it is super clear what you do. It is amazing tech. Thank you so very much for sharing that demo with me. Really appreciate it. And thank you to dear viewers. If you're still here, you know this is revolutionary stuff, isn't it? It's really, really incredible to see what Parag has done. And I mean, it gets me all excited about figuring out ways of using tech like this. I'm sure you can build businesses around it, but either way, if you're a sponsor, oh my goodness, or a bank, you've really got you got to get in there, do a trial, see how it goes, and it'll dramatically change the way your workflows, and it just speed things up so fabulous. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining me today. If you've not already done so, go to gowercrowd.com, sign up for my newsletter or subscribe to it. It's totally free. You get immediate access to these shows with written summaries and also links to be able to watch them. So it's a quick and easy way of getting information that you can really use. Okay, that is it from me this week. And until next time, it's Adam Gower signing off.